Yo, what is up everyone? Tigbitty here, back again, this time with another Keyforge deck review featuring Trailer Veldriclon. Okay. Brobnar Dis Shadows. So of course Shadows and Dis are like two of my favorite houses for making my opponent mad at us. Shadows is notorious for stealing their amber, and Dis is notorious for controlling what my opponent is doing on the board with minions, or also just making them discard cards in their hand, or just a bunch of annoying stuff like making them choose the wrong factions sometimes. And Brobnar is all about board presence, so you know what? These three together might be the best three faction combo. Shadows is kind of a must-have, for stealing and all that. Dis is almost another must-have for board control, board wipes, all that kind of stuff. And Brobnar, well, you could probably replace Brobnar with another heavy creature board, maybe Mars, maybe Sanctum, something like that with lots of creatures that are generally kind of big. I know Mars isn't really notorious for big creatures, but it does have a lot of big creatures, and it's possible to have a really nice board there. But let's get into it with further ado. The reason why I am showcasing this deck is because it does have 3 minions only in Shadows. So it really does accentuate what Shadows does best, which is just play some nasty actions. It starts off with a Cell on the Fence. I have looked at this deck already, and I have decided this card is absolutely useless. The ability does nothing for us. So I can totally use this to sacrifice for another card, like Pawn Sacrifice, something like that. This card kind of sucks in this deck. Unfortunately, it is a good card, but in this deck, it's pretty bad. Then we have Dodger. Really like Dodger. He is a consistent fight steal 1. Now, he's not going to be able to steal probably more than 2 amber most of the time because he will die. But you know what? I don't care. If he steals at least 1, I would say it's worth it because you have that big power along with it. It's pretty good. Now, this is another pretty good minion, Massis Asp. He has Skirmish and Poison. So the important thing to note about this guy is he gets around those pesky 2 armor people. Because as you know, Poison does not go through armor. You have to have the actual power to damage the actual human first to actually poison it, kind of thing. So I really like this Massid Asp. It has potential to kill pretty much anything on the board, and with 3 power, it can be kind of hard to kill. Next up, we got Seeker Needle. Seeker Needle artifact would be better with like a bad penny, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst card that we could pull. Consistent, kind of annoying damage if we can pull it. If we can get that 1 health execute off. Next up, we have another super powerful shadow spell, Too Much to Protect. Steal all but 6 of your opponent's amber. Now, I can say that this card is extremely mediocre sometimes, but it's actually extremely broken if you can just figure out how to play it properly, and if you have something like a miasma to delay your opponent forging that key to make them build up just a massive pool of amber, and then you can just steal it all. So, Too Much to Protect, absolutely love Too Much to Protect. Then we go ahead and we got our Relentless Whispers. Not much to say about this, other than it's direct damage, and then if it destroys the creature you steal, but it also generates you 1. So this is really good amber generation here, and as you're going to see with everything in our Shadows house, we have a lot of amber generation in Shadows, and as you know, Shadow has a lot of steal as well. So my Shadow faction here has a bunch of steal and a bunch of generation, which is why I am featuring this deck today. Next up, we have Pawn Sacrifice. I told you that we do have a target for Pawn Sacrifice. It is not an ideal target. It's not a bad penny or anything like that, but if we need to have that board wipe control, I wouldn't mind sacrificing my 1 creature, especially if I already have it in my hand. I could just play it, destroy it instantly. They won't see it coming. We do have 2 Pawn Sacrifice, so it's kind of annoying. It's like, why do we have so many of these? But the amber generation on them is not something that you should think about too lightly. Then we have Miasma. Absolutely bonkers card. Your opponent skips the Forge a Key step. Like, you just keep this in your hand until they have too much amber, especially if you have too much to protect. Oh man, this card is just going to be the perfect setup for that. So great card in this deck, plus another raw amber generation. Then we have more double raw amber generation, and we have 2 of these ghostly hands. If your opponent has exactly 1, steal it. So potential 3 gain. Absolutely crazy. We have 2 of those. Really helps round out the deck. And a bait and switch. If your opponent has more than you, steal 1. If you don't have bait and switch in any of your decks, you are really missing out. This card is extremely fun to pull off. And again, it combos extremely well with Miasma to make them delayed. Build up a huge amber pool. And then boom, just, too much to protect, bait and switch, all that jazz. You got it. Now, that is it for shadows. So you saw how many really, really nice shadow actions we had, but we only had 3 minions. Now we are on to Dis, and we are starting off with an amazing Collar of Subordination. Now, I did look into this. If you chose to control, let's say, a house or a minion of a different house than we have, it's not going to be as efficient because we can't use that creature unless we call that creature's house. And ideally, I want to steal one of these creatures. I wouldn't mind stealing a Dis creature or a Brobnar creature or even a Shadow creature. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, this is great. Absolutely fantastic card. It is a rare because it is kind of like a mind control. So really, really insane. If this was Hearthstone, that would be 10 mana. That would be a 10 mana spell. Toxin. So starting off pretty good here. 3 power, and your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Good card advantage. Here's another card advantage. Succubus. During their draw cards, your opponent refills to 1 less card. This card doesn't work 100% of the time because if they kill it off before they draw cards, then it doesn't do anything. But it is good. It's kind of like a taunt, right? Schuler. This is another shadow cosplay, just stealing 1. I know Dis does have a lot of steal and kind of manipulation that way, and this is why I like the combo of Dis and Shadows. They both really work well together. Control the board, steal Amber. Your opponent's not going to be happy. Guardian Demon, play fight, repeal up to 2 from a creature, deal that amount of damage to another creature. I actually really like this guy. I opened him up in one of my first decks ever, and I was like, wow, this guy's broken. He has a triple ability, just like the Horsemen do, right? Play fight, reap. I just think this guy's great. Glad to have him in here. Needless to say, Dust Imp is just a staple. You kind of want a Dust Imp. It's good amber generation, good anti-board clear. Your opponent really has to make sure that if you're sitting on 4 amber or something and you have that Dust Imp out there, they really can't board clear you. Otherwise, you get a free key. So really like Dust Imp. It combos well as well with my Guardian Demon. Can just kill it right off if I choose. So that's that. Now, that's it for the creature board for Dis. So not too many creatures. I believe that was 5. Plus the Collar of Subordination, which could be an opponent's minion. So decent creature board in Dis. Lash of Broken Dreams. I absolutely love this card. It is such an annoying artifact. Keys cost +3 during your opponent's next turn. I don't even need to tell you how good this card is, but in this deck particular, because we have the Miasma, because we have the Bait and Switch, because we have the Too Much to Protect, this card is just going to work wonders with that. It's going to make us steal so much, they're never going to be able to do anything. And Poltergeist, another S-tier card, I would say. Use an artifact controlled by any player as if it was yours, destroy that artifact. Super, super good. Gives you a raw amber generation as well in Dis, which is a little rarer. Here's another raw amber generation. This is not... I would say this is kind of an S-tier card, but not exactly. Because you can deal 3 to a creature, and if it doesn't actually get killed, the owner discards a random card from their hand. That's really good, especially with the raw amber generation. But of course, there are cards like Gateway to Dis, which just make that, make the comparison a little bit embarrassing for it. But if you do have Fear, return an enemy creature to its owner's hand, combined with discarding a random card from their hand. Think about that. You could literally discard that minion right away. Or you could just kill the whole board and gain 3 chains. Absolutely love Key of Dis, or what's it called? Gateway to Dis, not Key of Dis. Almost the same card though. Fear. Like I said, pretty decent card. Good for controlling the board once again. And then Control the Weak. Literally helps you control, I guess, your opponent who is weak. Choose a house, and your opponent has to choose that house. So I love the control of Dis so far, and the control of Shadows. It's just so much raw Amber generation in Shadows as well, that this is shaping up to be a really good deck. As long as we have a really good creature board in Brobnar, we're gonna just be laughing. A Blood of Titans, such a good card. We can combo this with some of our Dis creatures if we really want, or we can just use this in Brobnar itself. Love this upgrade. War Drummer, absolutely a polarizing card, I would say. I would say it's an absolutely amazing card, but it's not exactly amazing in every situation. You just need to really make sure that you have a good creature board that if you attack, that you can use this War Drummer to just fully heal your whole board and play it again. Or if you have a lot of play abilities, right? You play them all, return them all, play them again, you get the double play abilities. So I'll be showing you how many creatures we have. We do have quite a bit of creatures, and War Drummer will be working great in this deck. Super happy that I got a nice War Drummer to go with all my Brobnar creatures. Troll, like I said earlier in one of my other videos, Brobnar would just not be Brobnar without a Troll. I just loved the Troll, and if I could have 3 or 4 Trolls in a deck, I would prefer that over these other cards. But you know what? Smash is also good, and it's really good with my War Drummer. Play stun a creature. I could stun up to 2 creatures if I play it twice. Really good. Headhunter. Just a simple bread and butter, fight, gain 1. It's pretty much what Brobnar does. Then we got the Fire Spitter. He's basically a 6 power minion, deals 6 damage, can take 6 damage. Really insane card, can kill off those little tiny creatures that are just waiting to get pinged off, that have elusive or something like that. Boom, that'll take care of that, no problem. Really like Fire Spitter. I think it's a little bit underrated. I mean, I don't know who's underrating it, but I just think it's underrated. It's just so good. Bumpsy, your opponent loses 1. I do believe I have a double bump. We do have the double bump hump. So, your opponent can lose 4 amber if we use the War Drummer correctly here. Opponent loses 4 amber, and we get 2 minions on the board. Just great. And that wraps up our creature board for Brobnar. We've got another artifact in this class. This is Cannon. So yeah, so there's only like 4 actions plus, well, there's 5 actions total plus the other upgrade, right? So yeah, good creature board. We got a Cannon, deals 2 to a creature action. Really like that. Adds to our board presence if you want to think about it that way. Smith, the solid amber generation once again in Brobnar. Brobnar doesn't have too much amber generation, right? But Smith, this can really work out. This is a solid 3 amber generation, but you have to have more creatures than your opponent. Well, guess what? I have some good board control. I have some good taking minions from our opponent. I have so many minions in Brobnar. This is going to be great. This is good amber generation once again. Punch, just some direct damage. Another raw amber generation. Really like Punch. And Follow the Leader. This isn't the best card in this deck. It would be better if we had a bunch of minions in the other classes. But again, 3 minions in Shadows, like 5 minions in Dis. So it could be good, but it's not the best. And that wraps up this deck. I'll show you the deck list now. And we'll go over it really quick. So, again, we have Selin the Fence, Dodger, Massis Asp, that's it. And then we have Secret Needle, Too Much to Protect, Relentless Whispers, Pawn, Miasma, Ghostly Hand, Bait and Switch. That's a lot of raw amber. I believe that's like 11 raw amber just in Shadows. That's a lot. And then we got Dis, right? We got that Collar of Subordination up there. We got Toxin, Succubus, Schuler, Guardian Demon, Dust Imp. So we have, 5 minions there. Lash of Broken Dreams is going to work really well with Shadows. Gateway to Dis, so good. Control the Weak, so good. Poltergeist, so good for the artifact control. And then this one, look how many minions we have. We have War Drummer, Troll, Smash, Headhunter, Fire Spitter, Bumpsy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minions, plus a Blood of the Titans. That's like 8 minions. And then we got ourselves a Cannon, Smith, Punch, Follow Leader. So I think this deck is going to fare up quite nicely against some of the competition. The shadows in this deck is a little bit, lacking creatures, but again, I am not concerned. Instead, I am very excited about the lack of creatures in this deck. And the big creature board in Brobnard, and the good disc board as well. I'm really liking this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Would appreciate a thumbs up, by the way. And feel free to subscribe if you want to see some more videos. And I'll see you in the comments below. Peace, peace.